And listen to this PowerPoint presentation in regards to student achievement and poverty and how it's related and why it's relevant in our school district. As I present to you, we're going to learn some of the different strategies we can use in the classroom to help these kids who are faced with different external barriers, which they come into our classrooms not ready to learn. So as we move on, you might have some questions at the end, but these are things that we're going to learn, and I'm going to provide for you this PowerPoint, email it to you so you can have it at your own dispense if you want to look back to it and move forward. Our strategic plan here in Sylacauga is, one of our goals is to provide meaningful, relevant, rigorous, and quality instruction to each student and meet their needs. And this is strategies 2 and 6. Now, with the M&Ms that I provided for you, I hope you select your favorite one. And this is a great activity to break the ice for kids in the classroom, getting to know one another. In this activity, what you could do is ask several questions, 5 questions, write them down, and you're going to ask each kid who selected different colors to explain why they selected that color and answer the question that you provided for each color. For instance, like if you selected a blue M&M, you'll tell us why you came to Sylacauga and chose the educational profession in regards to being here in Sylacauga and what you felt you're going to do to impact the learning of kids. If you selected an orange, you would tell us your greatest aha moment as an educator. If you selected a yellow, you could explain why you chose education as a profession and not another profession. If you selected a red, tell or discuss your greatest strength and your greatest weakness as an instructor. And last but not least, if you selected a green, you can tell us why you think poor or impoverished kids need more assistance than sometimes other kids who are not from a poor state of a conditional state. So we have to figure out what questions are good for your classroom, because every question is different and it can meet the needs of yours and the kids in the classroom for breaking that ice. It's a great activity, an M&M activity. As a group activity, this is Turn and Talk. It's a great strategic teaching method to help kids collaborate, be engaged in the classroom. And I would ask you to do the same thing. Just to expedite time, my question would be, what does poverty mean to you? And why is it important to know each student in your classroom? You would take this time to talk to the person next to you, collaborate, listen to their thoughts, what they think poverty is, and why it's important to have these, to know every kid in the classroom. This is Turn and Talk, great group activity for kids to be engaged in the classroom. Definition of poverty: a state of one who lacks a usual or a social acceptable amount of money or material possessions. Listen, we all know that kids in poverty have many deficient ways of obtaining material things or possessions, but many times kids today look at poverty from what you have, what you do not have, like the greatest and newest iPhone. If you don't have the newest iPhone, you're considered poor. If you don't have the sneakers, the name brand clothes, in the minds of kids, you're considered poor if you don't have these items. Another definition is a state or condition of having little or no money, goods, means support, condition of being poor. And I think the most important term here is support. Kids of poverty, better yet, all kids need support. We need support as educators. If we don't have the support of our administration, where are we? So kids are the same. They need our support to be successful in regards to education. In our book study, Engaging Students of Poverty in Mind by Eric Jensen, he defined poverty as CMR, which is a chronic condition that affects the mind, body, and soul, resulting to multiple adverse synergistic risk factors. We know that the mind and the body is affected when you're poor because of the lack of needs that you might not receive. So he talks about this in this book, and I feel that's a great book. I'm sure you all would agree that we can learn a lot from the different strategies provided by Eric Jensen. Here's some data in regards to the U.S. Census Bureau. Kind of tells you if you have, let's say for instance, if you have 9 or more people in your household, you only have $46,000 a year, then you're considered poor. And it kind of breaks it down for the number of people you have in your household and the amount of money you got to make in order to be considered poor or not. So this is a great tool, some data that you can have at your disposal to look at in regards to kids in poverty. Ruby Payne, great book to read. Key points of understanding poverty. In order to identify with kids with poverty, you must read and understand what poverty is. Poverty is relative. It does not discriminate. Occurs in all races according to the research by Ruby Payne. And a lot of things that she has in her book are spot on in regards to poverty and understanding poverty. She also, her work is based on patterns, and all patterns have exceptions. We understand that. So this is a great book to use, a great book to read, to understand the relevance of poverty and how it affects our kids and how they come to our classroom, not focus, and how to refocus these kids. Types of poverty, we have 2 types. We have situational poverty and generational poverty. Situational poverty can have anyone in here. If death occurs, we lose our job, or we become sick, go through a divorce, this throws into that category of situational poverty. So that's a very important term to know that poverty does not discriminate once again. Generational poverty, this is poverty for at least 2 generations. This is where kids and families fall into that vicious cycle of poverty. They don't know how to get out, and sometimes do not want to get out of this state of mind or condition. Reasons to leave poverty. I placed to you a picture of Bo Jackson, probably the most greatest or the greatest athlete of all time in my eyes. And Bo Jackson, when he was interviewed, he talked about how painful it was to be in poverty, how embarrassed he was. Had shoes that had holes in them, pants that had holes in them, and how he wanted to get out of poverty. He had a goal, he had a vision. But I think the key piece here is relationships. We must have relationships in order to help these kids get out of poverty. The coaches, the teachers saw Bo's potential, helped Bo attain his goal of getting out of poverty. Bo had special talents. The coaches understood these talents. They identified these skills that he had, and he was able to be what he is today. He had a speech impediment, so he had a lot of things going against him, but having that key relationship with those teachers and coaches and that special talent allowed him to get out of the condition or the state or level of poverty that he was in. Bo Jackson. Strategies to help students with poverty, focus on academic achievement, have clear choices for these kids, do frequent assessments. We have STAR Math and STAR Reading. It's a great way to see the progress of kids or the progress that they're not making. Also provide them many opportunities for improvement. They get a 0 for not having homework. Give them a chance to bring their grades up by attending summer school. Not summer school, but Saturday school and also twilight school to help pull those grades up. Also focus on non-fiction writing and having collaborative scoring for student homework. This way we're not showing any kind of disparity. We're being pretty much equal across the board in regard to how we grade the work of students. Here we have 12 ways to improve student achievement. I'm not going to go over all 12 strategies or ways to improve their achievement, but I picked out 3 that I think is very important. For me, extended learning, Saturday school, twilight school, ways to help kids, because see, many times kids with poverty go back into their environment once they leave us, and they have those negative influences. They have those barriers that they cannot knock down, can't be reduced. So the extended learning provides a more of a positive environment to be successful and to be more engaged with those who are the role models, those positive peers, those positive adults in the community. Another one I picked out would be ensuring a personal connection. When kids know you care about them and you love them, they'll do all they can to try not to fail you. And this is one of the things I think Bo Jackson mentioned in his interview is he didn't want to fail the teachers and the coaches that helped him. And kids are like this in general. If you show the love, you show you care, you show interest, they'll do all they can for you. And last but not least, engage in families, parents, and community. You got to have a collaboration of all to make this be successful. The State Department of Education has put on the initiative, Learn Support Cohorts. We're part of this cohort this time, and we're going to learn that it's important to engage the parents, the community, and the school to work together for the goals of the kids. Norms of dialogue, when it comes to poverty kids, listen to them actively. Suspend your judgment. Respect their viewpoints, because their viewpoints are totally different from our viewpoints. Their walks of life have been totally different than our walks of life. So we have to understand these kids, where they come from in regards to our dialogue with them. As we move on and as we begin to finish up this PowerPoint presentation, the exit slip is a takeaway activity we can use in our classrooms. Once going through a lesson, we can ask the student to give one important fact of what you learned today from this lesson. Write on a sheet of paper that you might have in front of you, and tell about what you learned and why it's going to impact you in the long run. It's a great opportunity for kids, for you to see what kids have learned that day in your classroom. But I ask you to do it, and I want you to determine as a team key insights to end patterns of failure associated with the lack of student engagement due to a low SES. So as you write this down and submit it to me before you leave, I would appreciate that, to see what you have learned today in this brief presentation of poverty and student achievement. As well as this exit slip, I'd like for you to, in your peer observation for next week, to go and see if any of these strategies are used by your peers in the classroom. Great opportunity to learn from those who are able to get across to those kids of poverty, and maybe use those as strategies they use in regards to helping those kids of poverty. Last thing I'm going to show you is the evaluation instrument. You probably can't see it, but you have a form in front of you, and please evaluate this presentation appropriately. You're going to have this, and this is what we're going to ask you to grade us in regards to this instrument and what I provided for you in regards to insight on poverty and student achievement. Once again, I want to thank you for coming out on this pretty Saturday. Spend some time with my family and listen to me provide you information in regards to poverty and student achievement. Thanks again, and have a great day.